I was 32 with like $13 in my bank account. Even with having the accolades under my belt, like whether things were Grammy nominated or award winning, I still don't know. As a creative, you don't know what your future holds. It's crazy to think that what a brand will spend on a more legacy style commercial, some content creators getting paid the same amount just to make vertical selfie videos talking about a product. I was like, that can't be real. And then I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it's real. What pushed me to do it was knowing that it was real, knowing that I had my back pushed up against a wall, and I went for it. It was rough, it was tough, and somehow it worked.
All right, guys, we're not in the regular studio. We're somewhere spacey and trippy, and I think it's maybe appropriate for the kind of conversation we're going to have today. I first met Adrian at Adobe Max in the green room. We were both doing different things, but I think it was Drigo who introduced me to you and said, you need to meet this guy. He's blown up on the internet. Mo, too. So they're both fans of yours, and that's how I find out about cool people. I'm not that cool myself, and I start looking at your content. Okay, so let's set it up today. What are we going to talk about? What I want to explore with you, and then I want you to introduce yourself. But I think Adrian's an incredible filmmaker, but also he's got mad style. Are you Filipino?
Yeah, I'm full
It's
Filipino.
a Filipino thing, guys.
Yeah.
If you don't know Filipinos, they got a lot of style. I steal some of it from Filipino culture. So if there's something here, it's from these guys. But I'm interested in this kind of long creative arc that you're on and what you're doing currently. And if you've ever wondered for yourself, like, what is the real trajectory or arc that a creative person goes on, I think this is the episode for you. So stick around for that. Okay, so Adrian, if people don't know who you are, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your backstory, because I want to dig into that.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? My name is Adrian Purr, also known as OMG Adrian on my social media handles. You know, it's interesting, like, how can I describe myself in like one word? I guess the easiest way is a filmmaker. I make videos, but I just like doing all creative things. I just don't share them, but most people would know me as a filmmaker. Just being creative is something that I've done my whole life. It's something that, like, whether I was told it was something I should follow or not, that's something that my heart decided to follow and never drop. And it ended me up here, which is crazy. You know, I've never dropped it, and it's always just been my safe space for expression.
Okay, we were talking a little bit before the show, before we started recording, in this other career that you had.
Oh, no.
I won't embarrass you, but I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know, when is the first moment this creative spark revealed itself to you? Where were you? What were you doing? What was it about?
There were so many little moments as a kid that I remember picking up on. For example, I remember being like 10 years old or so, and sometimes even younger, but one specific moment is I was in the car with my family, and we were driving somewhere, I don't know, stuck in traffic. We were listening to Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001. And I don't know what it was about it, but the drums were hard. And I remember just like not knowing what a kick drum was, not knowing what a snare drum was, and like just picking out, oh, this is a pattern. It does do, do, do. And I was like, the other sound is doing ka, ka, like every so amount of times. And that brought me so much joy. I don't know why, but I would like pick apart music and I would look out my window, and, you know, as all kids do, and like imagine you're in a music video. I would just be like, oh, this would be a great scene. And from there, it just became like my escape from like, it's not like there was anything I needed to escape from, but it just brought me into, I guess that would be my version of daydreaming. I wouldn't really think of myself doing things like most kids, like they daydream about themselves living a dream, but I would just think of, you know, just different scenes as if it was a music video or a movie, and like how this song scores this scene that I'm watching right now.
I have so much to pull apart here from that. The fact that you can listen. How old are you at this time, you think? 2000, you said 2002?
2001.
2001, okay,
Yeah,
so how old
I was
are you?
like 10.
Okay, 10.
Yeah.
It's amazing because when we hear music or things that we don't study, we just hear all of it. We can't break apart the layers. Like when I look at a design, a poster, I can break up every single little part. But somebody's like, what are you looking at? The fact that you're listening to this and you're starting to break apart the pieces. Is there a musical background here? Are your parents in music? Or did you study music?
I didn't study music, but it's something that I've been drawn to my whole life. one of my uncles is really good at singing and playing the guitar. And also, I'm Filipino, so I grew up around karaoke since before I could even speak. So it runs in our Filipino blood to just be around music. I'm not blessed with like a beautiful singing voice, but I was just around it. And I don't know, I think like inadvertently, like it kind of just molded my musicality. But yeah, no, I never studied any of it.
Okay. We're going to dive in a little to stereotypes a little bit here. What is it with Filipino culture that makes most of you, not all of you, really good at singing, carrying tunes, and being able to dance, especially hip hop, and the swag and the style? Like, what is it? I don't understand it, but I can appreciate it.
I don't know at all.
Really?
I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I had some of it. I wish I could dance.
No, come on, you have.
I could. Dressing up is easy.
Yeah. Okay.
But like the talent and the skill to sing and dance, like on any given moment, like you could walk down like a karaoke bar in the Philippines and you would have sworn there's like 5 people like being as good as Adele or Whitney or any of these folks. No disrespect to any of those incredible legends, right? But they're like God level good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that's in the water. But these people, they're nuts. So shout out the Philippines. Like I was born with something, not all of it, not all of the musical ability, but like it's in here. I just can't execute it.
10 years old, you're listening to the beat, you can break it down, you're dissecting it, and then the first thing that you feel like you're having is you're visualizing what the music will look like. Now, I've grown up mostly in California for my life, and until someone exposes you to something, you see things, and you don't know that somebody did that. You just assume it just happened. I'll give you an example, okay? I'm a bit older than you. I'm introduced to music videos through Friday night videos because we didn't have cable. We didn't have MTV or anything. My cousin from LA comes up and he says, hey, it's Friday night videos. Let's stay up and watch this. And Michael Jackson's Thriller is debuting on Friday night videos, I think. And my head explodes. I'm like, what is this art form? And I know nothing about it. But here you are 10 years old and you're like, I'm visualizing the images that go with this.
I'm in the generation that already had TRL.
Okay.
So like I had seen music videos. So, and I was like huge into music as a kid. Like all my older cousins like put me on to Pac, Jay-Z, Biggie, all these folks. So yeah, I'd been exposed to it, but like I just, you know, when you ask like what is one of the first times you remember like my creative spark or my creative brain working, it was then. It was literally us driving across the Bay Bridge, and I'd never forgotten it.
Let's move forward in a timeline. When does this manifest itself into a thing that might feel like a profession or career for you?
Oh, man. I'd say the delusional version of me.
I like that version.
Probably, I'd say 23.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we skipping over the music part?
Oh, a little bit. But like 23 because that's when I finally started getting paid for creative things.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
But because I knew I wanted it to be a career, but you know, having Asian parents or going to I went to a private school from kindergarten to 8th grade. Art was just an elective class.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to get into these great high schools, wasn't smart enough, or well, on paper, I wasn't. I was never that good at school. So, you know, they would tell me like, stop drawing, stop making beats on your desk. Like, none of that stuff is gonna like. That's not as important as learning fractions and inequalities and you know, algebra.
Yeah.
So it had been drilled into my head that it wasn't a real thing.
Right.
And then I started getting paid for it. And I was like, oh, this might be able to be a thing. So there's like a huge gap from when I first, you know, from when it first entered me to when did I feel like I can make this a reality. And even in 2022, I still felt like, will I be doing this 20 years from now? Like it's tough. Like, it's, you know, it's not easy. You know, it's like you're fighting. I mean, whether you're working in the corporate world or not, like you're always fighting for the spot you feel like you deserve. So for the first time ever this year, I was like, oh, I really do this.
Okay, that's heavy. It's hitting me right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to unpack all that stuff. I want to dive there, but
It's become a therapy session.
well, I love this, man. I love how you're processing all this stuff, because this is the thing I want to let a lot of folks know. You see somebody you admire that's got hundreds of thousands of followers. You think, oh, it was like ordained by some supreme being that this was your path and it was super clear. And to hear you say it is not like a year and a half ago, you're still thinking like, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this the thing?
Right, because I was 32. I was 32 with like $13 in my bank account. Actually, I was like, I need to sell this watch. I need to sell this camera. Like life hit me in so many ways that I didn't expect. So even with, having the accolades under my belt, like whether things were Grammy nominated or, award winning, I still don't know. As a creative, you don't know what your future holds. Like, and then I applied to jobs. And then I didn't get a single interview. I applied to 60 creative jobs and then non-creative jobs. Like I applied to like 60 something of them and I landed 0 interviews. And this is having had an extensive commercial career, music video career. Yeah. And it was like, you're either overqualified or underqualified, or we also just don't know you. So it's rough. So yeah, I think when I was 23, I was like, I want to do this as a career. Yeah. And that's when I dropped out of my dental program. I was going to be a dentist. So, from then until I was living with my parents till I was 27, I would have been deemed as a loser, as like the struggling artist for a long time.
This is in the Bay, right?
This was in the Bay.
Okay, so 27, from 0 to 27, you're with your parents.
Yep.
Some of the Asian stereotypes are true. The fact that you're still at home, not on your career path, didn't go to like whatever, that's got to weigh on you, right? Do they make you feel this like, Adrian, you got to go do your thing?
Yeah.
How did that manifest itself at the kitchen table or wherever you would have conversations?
Well, my mom always believed that I was going to go hard at whatever I chose. She was always like the push on my back. Like she is my spine. And everything to this day I still do for her because of her. My dad, at the time I didn't understand it, but and I think a lot of us kids of immigrant parents, you need to understand this. At some point, we're going to have to forgive our parents for acting the way they did at us. Because I was very thankful. Like the last handful of years before my dad passed, I was able to realize all of these things. But at some point, he didn't speak to me.
Oh my God.
Like he, it was just, these people left their country. Yeah. They could have had amazing lives, completely automated. They would have been comfortable. They left their home country, gave everything up, struggled, worked night and day, and to resent them for whether it's not being there or being upset or temperament. Like sometimes I come home and I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I gotta walk my dog. I love my dog, but I gotta walk him, right? And I if I do have a temperament, like I can't blame any of that because these people are busting their ass. And to have a kid who became a high school dropout, to have somebody who got Fs across the board on their report card, to, getting caught drinking, smoking, dabbling with different drugs. Yeah. I was the quintessential Asian disappointment that had this talent to make art or to express himself. They came here with this dream of, I want him to become the family's jewel. Like, he will make us money. All of these sacrifices will pay off. And you can't get there by not being in the medical field. So, yeah, my dad didn't understand it, and I don't blame him for that. Like, it's something that I feel like a lot of Asian kids or just kids of immigrant parents need to understand. Like, you can't fault them because, like, sometimes you come home from your job and you're just like, if things aren't going right, you won't know how to cope. Right. And yeah, it's like I was that Asian disappointment. It was rough, it was tough, and somehow it worked. Somehow it all worked out. And sometimes it doesn't work out, you know? But I'm here and he was able to see it. Yeah. And after leaving my parents' house at 27, I gave myself 3 years in LA. I said, I need to make it work. Because in 3 years, I will be 30. if I am making $30,000 to $40,000 a year, which I wasn't even doing at the time, 2018 or 2019, on my invoicing program, my first year, I think I made $11,000.
Okay.
Right? With my silly little art, I was Uber driving, I was delivering food in my Prius. The second year, I think I made like 39,000 or something.
Some progress there.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm about to be 30. I gotta really figure this out. And then, boom, it clicked. So I just stayed here longer, and here I am.
Thanks for sharing that. If it's not too painful, I want to go back to some things.
Yeah.
You said that you were glad that you were able to kind of appreciate your upbringing before your dad passed.
Yeah.
What was the feeling before? What was it that made you realize the thing that you know now? And how did it change your relationship?
I'm glad that things worked out. I'm glad that it started becoming a tangible career that he could see, whether it was my work on TV or on the internet. Like, to see that and not understand how, whether it's big Hollywood or the media world looks like, I think that did it. It wasn't me convincing him, like, look what I've done. This legitimizes it. Because sometimes you can show, your immigrant parents this and they still don't understand.
Right.
So there was a bit of understanding there for him that he had to do as well. I don't know, maybe him and my mom talked about it at some point. But yeah, like one day it just started to shift. And then I just got older and I started to understand my own temperament, like how tired I can be from work. Like, and that man worked a lot,
right?
Whether we had a lot or a little, like, anybody who works 40 something hours a week will be tired. 40 or more, right? So I just matured enough to understand, like, there's no, I don't want to say there's no right or wrong way to parent. There's definitely wrong ways to parent. I just like matured enough to understand where it was coming from. Like, I knew that this is not a path that anybody could have foreseen for any kid of first immigrant children.
Right. I think the thing that a lot of people need to understand is we can all be better parents, because I am one, but that all parents, whether good intention or not, are not perfect. So we have to remove the standard of perfection as the bar in which they're all measured against, because that's not possible. That they're doing the best they can with what they know. They have an operating system that's really outdated by what we're seeing, and you'll be outdated too when you have kids, because it's just the way the world works. Things are moving, paradigm shift, and there's a whole generational gap. They put a term on that. And they do that. And if we could acknowledge that, they had limited resources and their own upbringing shaped how they thought, they did the best they could, imperfect as it was. And if we can come to peace with that, at least we can move the energy away from one of resentment or anger or whatever other thing you're feeling and direct it towards what we should be working on. I think there's a positive outlet for that, right?
For sure. Like, a lot of our parents worked with a lot less than what we have.
Yeah.
And for all of us to feel like we're barely getting by, imagine how they felt. Like, dude, like if a lot of us in our 30s can feel like we're barely getting by, and a lot of our parents had us in their 20s, like, dude, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So it's something that we all kind of just have to have the self-awareness to understand. And I was self-aware enough to understand that and look past, the anger of me being this high school dropout. Yo, if my kid became this high school dropout and said, I want to do something that I probably didn't even know exists as a career, I would be like, dog, what are you doing?
I want to catch, Dad, I want to catch air. And you're like, what? And I want to package air and I want to sell air.
Right.
Yeah, and you would have probably what? Wait, no, not what? Right. And
Right.
I think at the end of the day, most parents want us not to suffer, to have a better life than they had.
Yeah.
And so when they see you suffering, they don't know how to articulate that, and it just comes across as a lot of disappointment and judgment. But I'm just really happy for you that because you were able to come together at some point before it was too late.
Yeah.
So I'm just really happy for you about that. Man.
Thank you. I
feel
too.
that.
I'm like so happy that he got to be proud and like to see the fruits of his labor before he went.
And that you got to show him like there was an investment here. It's working out.
Yeah. And
it's
like
working out.
to this day, like, my family is still able to reap the benefits of all his hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I want to talk to you about the crazy amount of work that, as far as I can see, because I used to produce commercials, what you put into your videos on Instagram, but we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But it did surface on the internet somewhere. Rich found it. This hip hop. Well, no, we don't do that. It's available. Maybe Drigo and the team will cut to that video right now.
Dig deep for it.
Couple of bars there. I'm like, who is that guy? I think he looks just like the guy I know, but that is not the guy I know. And there you are, rapping, doing your moves.
Yeah.
What? Tell me about that and how that leads us to where we are today.
Like I said earlier, like it all stemmed from music. My first videos were music videos of my friends and myself. And that's because I've just been so, what would the word be? Enamored by music. It's just been so fascinating. It's like my euphoric little me time, escape time. So I just decided to try it out myself. You know, we're all guilty of having freestyle circles, you know, growing up as kids.
When you say we all, I mean a couple of us.
Oh, you've never done this?
No, I didn't. No way. No.
What?
Rich, are you freestyle rapping with your circle? No, shut up, dude.
Right. No, I'm pretty sure most dudes out there.
Most Filipinos. Let's tighten that circle a little bit, but keep
on.
Oh,
man. Okay. Yeah. I will.
Some of us in our freestyle circles.
Some of them. Yeah. I'd say it's more than 50%. Of people will just freestyle randomly, you know, growing up in high school, you know, you like be at some point you just get bored enough and start freestyling.
Okay.
Well, at least me and my friends did. Right. And I was like, you know what? My voice don't sound that bad. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it probably did sound that bad, but you know, we just tried it anyways. And that's through making my own music videos for myself and my friends actually led me to making my first music videos for actual musicians.
How old are you? Where are you doing this?
I believe I was 19.
Okay.
We were living in Daly City.
Okay.
Yeah, right by San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just would set up a microphone in my little bedroom studio and plug it into I had an HP computer, like just straight off the box that I bought from Best Buy for like $359. And I bought like this audio sound card. I installed it in there myself, and I would just download instrumentals from YouTube, rip them. They would still have like the tags on it. And it was just like another way for me to express myself the same way I would draw. I'm not a painter, or like I'm not Picasso or Van Gogh by any means, but like I'd love just different ways to express myself, but music came before any of this.
So you do music videos because you're kind of leaning into this directing and creation of visual storytelling, and the music was just a way for you to practice your art.
Yeah, mainly.
Okay, I like that. So if I move us forward in the timeline, you said I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to give myself 3 years to make it. Why LA of all places, and what is making it sound like to you in that deal that you made with yourself?
It's just Hollywood is here. Yeah. You know, the best of the best in the creative field that I wanted to be in was here. You know, at any given moment, I'm like within 20 miles of the people that I look up to most, and the thought of that is insane. Whether it's in the music space, the movie space, the music video space, I'm like, we're all pretty much neighbors. And to be in that energy is a wild thought. It was motivating for me. I had been coming down to LA for work for probably 3 or 4 years prior to moving. Mm-hmm. And I just knew it's where I needed to be to grow my career. And me making it, you know, I had big delusional dreams, and I still do. They keep me going, you know, whether it's winning awards or, you know, people knowing my work or leaving an imprint on any creative community that inspires people. But those are all things just to validate, you know, my ego, right? But to me, making it at the bare minimum level was just to be comfortable, to be happy doing what I'm doing, to not burn myself out. And, you know, right when I was around 28 going to 29, I was making like 30 something grand. And would that be deemed as successful? No. But I saw growth, and I was happy with where I was at, so I decided to keep going.
What is the point when you have like $13, or I was going to say cents, $13 in your bank account?
That was October of 2022.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to. This is not long ago. Here, like 22. Yeah.
A fast forwarded version of that is I made like my first 6 figures, and then it started growing. You know, I didn't understand taxes a lot. So let's say, I'm just going to put an arbitrary number that it isn't exact. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not rich by any means, my good people. If I made 150 grand, I thought I had 150 grand to spend. I went and bought all the things I see my favorite rappers wearing.
Right.
I bought an iced out chain that had my initials. I bought, you know, a Rolex, not one, but two. Why? I don't know. Looking for validation in the wrong places. I would wake up and buy a car. If I didn't like it, I would let it go. Like I did this for a couple years. And then I had saved up a decently healthy amount, and then life happened where I had to pay for a lot of things. And what it was really is like funerals are expensive. You know, memorial services are expensive. So when all these things started happening, I was like, damn, I got to liquidate my savings for taxes, for funeral services. And at the end of it, yeah, I had $13 left in my checking account. And I was like, all right, I got to really figure it out, which actually led me to making content.
Just so people know, and what you're going through is pretty typical. This is not crazy stuff. You make money and you see the check for whatever amount, let's say $10,000. You think you are now $10,000 richer.
Yeah.
If you just think about the taxes you have to pay on that number is already much lower. At minimum, 35% is out.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't know that. And that's like a lot. I'm sure there are programs and courses you can learn, but nobody tells you this. There's not a single business bank account that I know of that you can automate putting, you know, a certain percentage of savings if you're a content creator or a freelancer. Like I don't want to know that money exists, because if I see that money exists, I'm going to think I could spend it. And I mean, sure, it could have been like my own responsibility to know this, but like, you don't really know when you're thrown into that much money, like all of a sudden. You just think you have it to spend. Like if I had only known, or if there were like other ways it could have been solved or automated for me, probably would have been a different story. But no, I was really, really dumb. And which ended me up being, I was 32, $13, a couple of Rolexes, a nice iced out chain. I was like, this is so dumb. Like, why do I have this here sitting in front of me and like 3 cars, and I have $13 in liquid? That's crazy.
What did you do to earn that money before you hit that point in which you're like $13 in?
Oh, I was, so to get to that point, I was running my production company with my business partner. He did the editing, I did the directing. We lived in 2 different places a lot of times, and we grew it. I was putting my name on all the music videos that I was directing, and he would, you know, bring some different work in as well, whether, you know, it was just post-production for him, or, you know, me directing, or me producing something that he's directing. And over time, just saved it up. Didn't save enough of it, but, you know, I saved it up.
Yeah.
And it was solely from creating.
Okay. This is like doing work for artists, making videos for them?
Yes.
Okay.
For artists and brands.
Okay. And how, was it your friend who got the work? Or was it you who went out and procured the work?
A lot of it was me.
Yeah.
In the 2021 to 23, a lot of it was me just going out and making these connections with these people in LA.
Okay.
And, you know, just a lot of convincing, hey, you should trust me. Like, I know you work with a lot of really talented production companies and directors, but let me do it. And I would work with artists, you know, that I knew from around here. And then I started working with artists from, I guess, on a global scale, on an international scale. And it helped. We would gross a lot. Like unimaginable amounts, but I just didn't save enough for myself. And also, you know, just because you get, as a production company or a director, $100,000 budget does not mean you get $100,000. A $500,000 budget, like, you're gonna be lucky if you see like I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand out of 50,000 at the very, very end of it. So like while I was doing all that, I was like, this is great. This is the life. And then, you know, I had seen what content creators were doing. I was like, oh, there's a whole nother world. You're telling me the entirety of my budgets is what you're getting to make these brand deal videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I got to try that.
Yeah. See, we live in good times right now, right? Where we can do something like this.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that what a brand will spend on a more legacy media style commercial, some content creators getting paid the same amount just to make vertical selfie videos talking about a product. I was like, that can't be real. And then I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it's real. So, what pushed me to do it was knowing that it was real, knowing that I had my back pushed up against a wall. My manager, who's my manager now, he was like, you have the skill, you should try it. My girlfriend would tell me a lot, like, you've been talking about trying to make content for years, like, give it a shot. All of these led into, and also one of my best friends, a lot of people were saying, you should give it a shot. You literally have nothing much left to lose. And I went for it.
Real quick, before I forget, this video is brought to you by us, the Futur. Are you ready to kickstart your creative career and build a business doing what you love? Whether you're just starting out or you're switching careers or starting something new with decades of experience, we can help.
Accelerator is your fast track to building a killer portfolio and landing those dream clients.
You'll get training and experience on everything from lead generation and building your network to closing the sale and project management.
With over 100 video lessons, weekly coaching, and personalized feedback from the Futur team,
you are never alone in Accelerator. Want to learn more about the coursework, community, and coaching you'll get as an Accelerator member? Get all the details at thefutur.com/accelerator. We'll see you there. All right, let's get you back to the video.
I want to take you back to that point in which you said I would go out, I would go to events or something, and I would convince folks. That sounds like there's a whole thing to unpack there.
Yeah.
Can you share like an example, a moment, or a story about how you did that? I'm an introvert. I don't know. Are you an introvert?
I don't like being outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to get out of your own skin to go to an event. And then you have to do something that's even harder than going outside, which is you have to go talk to people and then you have to convince them to work with you. Take me through like how you might do that, because there's going to be a lot of filmmakers, creatives in there. It's like, Chris, why didn't you ask Adrian how he did it?
Yeah.
So here I am asking how you did it.
So talent is the base level, right? It sounds cliche, it sounds obvious, but we're all capable of doing great things.
Yeah.
The thing that will separate us from everybody is our soft skills. Like the hard skills is making it. The soft skills is how easy of a person are you to work with? Are you moldable for the job? Are you willing to, it's just the grittiness that it takes to work in this field. And all of those things, they will vet you on, whether it's a conversation at the bar or a video conference call. And showing up understanding that I need to remove my ego from this as just a creative to I am just a cog in the entire machine has helped me navigate that whole convincing process. Because at the end of the day, it is a job. If we want to go create art, we should go create art and express ourselves freely by our own passion projects. But if you're working for Nike and they have this big brand campaign they want you to direct, you can't just come in there making this commercial that doesn't feel like a Nike commercial. Like, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, there are bits of you that you should inject and can inject. But overall, like, I know a lot of creatives get frustrated that they're told, bring your creative approach to this, and then we need to make revisions on revisions. It's just understanding that I need to deliver for the brand more than I need to deliver for myself. And if I want to deliver for myself, I have my own passion projects for that. It's just an exchange that I feel like people should pay more attention to. Just understanding that I know artists are very guilty of like thinking that the creative for any project revolves around them and their ideas. And when I started, I don't want to say letting people know that I was about the project more than I was about myself. I don't know. I feel like it was an energy that you can feel. Like, I wasn't in this to just get my creative off. I was like, let's make a great product, something that this brand is proud of, something that this artist is proud of. And I would assume that they felt that, so they hired me for these things.
I totally appreciate that perspective, and a lot of people need to understand this. When you want to create work for yourself, that's great. You should do that. And that's something about your own ego or some vision you have. You do that. The minute you involve collaborators, it becomes much more than just what you want.
Yeah.
And it's a maturing that creatives go through so they can be go from an independent artist to being a successful commercial artist. And that's kind of really important. You can write crazy songs for yourself, but if people don't want to play it, they don't want to buy your records, it's going to be a tough thing to sustain yourself, right?
Right.
So you realize that. But I'm just curious, like really, like when you're in that room, like an event or party, screening, I don't know where you are when you're doing this, how do you strike up that how does that conversation begin, and how do you transition into, yeah, give me a shot, I won't let you down?
I would read the room first and the
Okay.
vibe. Like, I think there's an appropriate and inappropriate time to do things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was appropriate, I would just let them know, yo, I'm a fan of your work and what you're doing. This is what I do. If there's any place you feel like I could help your entire vision or your message, like, I would love to see if there's a way that we can work on something. And we would exchange emails or phone numbers, and it would just be a little conversation like, oh yeah, tell me about the things you've done. Like, what do you think that we've done that you could put yourself into? And I would just talk it out, be like, okay, well, I see this thing here that I like, and if I were to do it, I would do it this way. And we would just, it would just go from there. It would just flow.
See.
And that's also something that people need to practice.
Yeah.
It's just the social skills and being confident in yourself while also allowing the other person to speak. That's something I've learned along the way that's just become invaluable.
I love the way you explained that because it felt so natural. It felt so real. A lot of times people think that the way you get business is maybe you saw something on TV and you act like that. That's not the way it's done.
Right.
It came from a place of genuine appreciation and saying, I know enough about what you're doing. And if invited to that dialogue, you're like, here's a couple of things I've noticed, and letting that play out the way it plays out.
Just doing it in a way where you're not attacking what
Yeah.
this brand or
That's a good
artist
point.
is already doing. It's like just letting him know, like, hey, like in this music video, I saw you did this, but how about like next time, let's try this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know what you think about it. And it just wouldn't be invasive.
So, somebody could look at you and it's like, this guy's going to come at me with his attitude, his style, and he's not going to care. But what you're saying sounds completely different. Like you can look a certain way and have an ethos, but then your heart shows because you're like, I would love to help you.
Yeah,
if it makes sense. That's all it is, right?
I think that's what a lot of us freelancers should understand too. Like, we have the talent and skill that we've done through our own art to get to this place, to make it a profession. And when it becomes a profession, like, our whole job is really to serve, whether it's an album cover, whether it's a music video or a commercial to sell pasta. We're serving something through our skill.
Yeah.
And I let that be known. I let it be apparent. Like, I want to help make a great product.
You're getting paid a lot of money to do content, branded content. You're also making money through production services.
Yeah, I would just like, yeah, I'd say it's a lot.
Relative. Everything's
Yeah,
relative, everybody, right? You're not
I'm
getting
comfortable. Yeah,
a Michael
I'm
Bay
very
budget, but you're
comfortable.
getting a budget that you're like, wow, this is cool. I get to do this, right?
Yeah.
What is the mix between doing your own work as a brand, as an influencer, versus commercial work as a production company? Is there a
So-
breakdown?
Before I started making content was 100% just work for hire, 0% my own personal brand. Everything that I would post as my own personal brand was the work that I was doing as a
Yeah.
professional. And then when I started doing my own content, I'd say now it's about 10% production company work, working with other, just like work for hire for my production company. And I'd say 80% of my own content that just lives out there, personal content, passion projects. And the other 10% is brand partnerships, where through my personal brand, I'll work with, a brand to do some sort of integration.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting mix. I didn't think it would be like that. So 10% you do commercial work for others in service of their projects and their brands.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10% is you're getting paid to do your thing, but for brands.
Yeah.
The 80% of your time is just spent doing you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make money doing your stuff, or that's just for you?
That's just for me.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure.
I spend money doing my stuff.
That's a money losing
Yeah,
endeavor.
that's where I go red. But I believe in it. I believe
yeah.
in my art, and
Yeah.
I mean that's what it takes, And I am lucky enough to have that runway to do these things, and hopefully a brand sees the things that I do for myself and say, hey, he represents our mission statement or our brand well. Let's pay him to integrate ourselves within his own personal content as, a paid partnership. I do all those things, and hopefully it happens. And if it doesn't, that's okay as well. I will always have my production company, but it's happening now, and I'm grateful for it. I knew it existed, but it's just like, I never thought I'd be in a place where these brands that I'm huge fans of and that I would buy on a daily basis would be like, hey, we like your stuff. Can we, work with you or collaborate with you? And I was like, you're going to pay me to do something I would have done anyways? What? Yeah, let's do it.
I'm just going to share a little story and some information. Feel free to share what you want.
Yeah.
No pressure on your part. My attorney, who I met because the very first years in business, I got sued for some kind of copyright problem.
Oh, no.
Not my fault, but there we are. So I've known him now for almost 30 years. And so he's seen this arc from being a commercial artist, service provider, to being, I don't think he even understands what we do, but he's like, wait, and how much did they pay you? Wait, I don't even understand this, because he knows about our business. He's in the business himself. So I got paid $140,000 to work with a tech company. And it was kind of not like a selfie video, but it was on my iPhone.
Wow.
I edited it myself. And I'm thinking back in the day, they'd pay you $100,000 for a music video.
An entire music video.
And you spend most of the money, if not all of it, on producing it.
As a director, you only get 10%, and you cut into that trying to make it a better product.
Yeah, because you're like, I want to make sure it's a great
Yeah.
thing for the artist, because I love them so much.
Yeah.
When I first told him about this, he couldn't get his head even wrapped around it. Like, what? And I'm like, me neither. What kind of dream world are we living in? And I understand this because I've been in the business for a long time. There's the budget to produce the video or commercial, and then there's the media buy. So they're actually getting a huge bargain, because what they're doing is they're buying not only your production services, but they're buying your distribution.
Yeah.
So the larger your following, the larger the engagement, the viewership, that's what they're buying.
Yeah.
So they're getting actually a great deal. So more brands should support artists, and they're going to have a much more effective delivery vehicle for someone that people trust and like, and the message is authentic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a beginning.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to go to Cannes Lion this year, and I heard all of these brands talk about it, and it's just the beginning. I think it's a really effective use of their ad dollars.
I want to talk to you a little bit in the time remaining here about your process. I look at the things you do. It doesn't look like you could shoot it by yourself, and you can tell me otherwise, because there's all these creative angles, unless you're running around setting crazy things.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Is
actually.
it?
Yeah.
You're just doing it yourself?
Yeah.
The car mount or what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay. I have to rephrase the question then. There seems to be a high effort into making a very specific type of film. And I appreciate it. I recognize that. I do not have that kind of energy to do that. Tell me a little bit about your creative process and how you actually pull these things off, the things that I'm seeing that are just done for you.
Yeah, so my creative process, A to Z, starts with, I'm going to break it down really simple, y'all. It's the ideation process. A lot of that comes from, whether it's driving or listening to music, I'm drawn to a feeling. And if this song invokes a feeling or a thought, I write it down. Then I'll usually pick a song to write to, like an instrumental that I like. And I use, for all the brand partnerships, of course, I don't use any copywritten music. It's all royalty free. But because I'm just uploading it on my own channels without, I'm not getting paid for it, I'll pick like a Jay-Z song or something. I'll write my concept to that beat. like a rapper,
Yes.
embarrassingly enough.
Hey,
like
it's
the
all
video
coming
you've
together.
seen.
It's coming right together.
It's
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning. It's it all stems from music. Yeah, I'll write my script to it, and then I'll put the shots to it. So I'll break it down like, here, I can actually show you what it looks like. I could also show the camera. So for this, there's this concept I have called creative paralysis, and I have my script here, right here.
Okay.
And it says, this is for every creative who comes up with a million great ideas but fails to do any of them. That's one sentence, but I'll break it up into two shots. One where it's a profile shot, a wide shot of me as a profile, and I'm looking down at something I'm writing. And then I'll go from this angle, and then I'll look forward, but fails to do any of them. I'll complete the sentence, and I'll just break it up between wide shot, close up, medium shot. And I do all this before I go out and film. Basically, my edit is done before I go out and shoot anything, which is something I call the paper edit.
Yeah.
And then I'll go out, I'll do my shoot day, come back, ingest the footage, and I just drag the song in, which I know exactly what parts of the song I'm gonna use. And it's just plug and play from there. People think it takes a long time. I think it takes a long time to get to the point to know your own taste and what you're looking for. That's something you have to refine over years. But since I know that, it's like I'm just dragging and dropping things into place. I look at my shot list, I look at my script, and because I filmed it 45 minutes ago, I just put them all in the place that it needs to be, and it's done.
You want to say something?
I want to make a comment because I know a lot of people who follow you, including myself. It does seem like a lot of work because of the volume that you put out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it looks like whatever he put out, 30 days of Instagram Reels for you is like 2 years for someone like me. So it's the time that it's the quantity that you're putting out regularly that makes it seem like, wow, this is an insane amount of work.
Thank you. I spend a lot on pre-production, which helps my post-production and my filming be super effective and streamlined. If it wasn't for me doing my planning, I wouldn't be able to output as much as I do.
Yeah.
Literally, if I took something that I filmed and sent anybody my shot list and script with the music, anybody would be able to edit it just as fast, I think.
Yeah. You're working like a director.
Yeah.
As if you had to submit this to a client to approve and you got it all worked out. We know a day is expensive and very short. So you got to get your shots and you want to get your coverage. And so you're kind of editing and writing in your mind because you know what you're doing through your experience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I even think of the dumb things like he's got to go over there and hit the record and come back here and get in the car and then look
I
up.
do go through those things.
And that's painful. Like I just try to do dumb. You'll laugh, but I thought, hey, I'll try a weird hook where I'll walk into the camera and then I'll say something. But the walking into the camera makes me forget what the hell I want to say.
Oh, I still go through that to this day. Yeah.
All right. So 7 takes later, I'm like, screw the walk into camera. I'm just going to say it to camera now because that's as much creativity as I got for them right now. So I really do admire, whether you do it with the team or by yourself, even more by yourself, that you're going to go through that. Okay, let me set this up. I hope I'm in focus. Okay, focus, check. The lighting is exposure. Get back in the car, pretend like it's not a thing, and you do your thing. That's one shot.
Yeah, I think because I don't use that much gear. I actually have a love-hate relationship with gear.
Yeah.
I just want a camera that works and that's good for that specific job. I am not married to a single type of camera.
Yeah.
If the focus is on point and I don't I use all autofocus. I don't use any lighting. I just go out there and
When the light's good, you frame.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also think it's easier to do it by yourself. I think it's less embarrassing to do it by yourself because you mess up. Nobody's there to laugh at you, nobody's there to judge you. If somebody decided to shadow me for an entire day of filming, they'd probably be like, wow, okay, he actually really sucks at this. And then they see it put together.
Yeah.
They're like, there's no way he got that out
Right,
of what he was
right.
filming. Yeah, it's actually such a painfully messy process because I'm not trained to be an actor. So I'm just looking at my script and usually it takes me, 5 seconds to forget exactly what I looked at.
Yes.
And then halfway through saying it, I got to look at it again.
Yeah.
And it happens to this day. It just gets easier because I've done it so much, but it hasn't helped my memory recall.
Sure.
It's just something that I'm going to have to deal with forever.
So you're recording the audio live to the camera? You're not doing post?
No, I record it.
AVR?
I wear a little lav microphone right here. Sometimes you could see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like recording
It's
actual
in camera.
vocals.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, are you familiar? Is it dogma rules for filming? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a rule that a certain group of filmmakers signed on back in the day. Only available lighting. You can't manipulate the scene, and we're going to make films like this to get into the spirit of making films and not getting caught in production. So available light.
Yeah.
You can't manipulate the scene. So if that's there, you can't move that around. You have to frame around it.
That's cool. I got to look that up now.
Yeah, I think it's Dogma something. What is it called? Can't.
That's
So
crazy.
it's a really stripped down, no superficial action, handheld camera. This, in case you can't, because you gotta, it's just a one man deal. But you're very close to Dogma rules there.
But even as a director, you know, working with a lot of big artists and brands, like I'm very much like that as well. I don't like overshooting. I like shooting for the edit. I don't need to do a bunch of different takes for safety. If I feel like we got it, we got it. Let's move on. I like getting coverage and I like being efficient. There's a lot of reason why a lot of directors do get a bunch of safety shots, but I've never been that type.
Yeah.
Like I don't like beating something to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what you want. You've already worked it out in your mind. It's going to work.
Yeah.
That's a sign of maturity and experience. And I appreciate the economy of filmmaking. It's like very much Clint Eastwood style, right? He doesn't do extra takes.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. They're like, can we do another? He's like, nope, we're moving on.
That's crazy. I know Christopher Nolan does that a lot. He's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
And I know like when they were filming Oppenheimer, like he wouldn't even look back at the footage at his DP shot. He'd be like, oh, if you think we got it, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I'd be the same way. I'm like, all right, I trust you.
When you say I trust you, you're saying I trust me.
Oh,
'Cause
like
it's
if
just
I'm
you,
talking
right?
to like a cinematographer.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I'm hiring you because you're way better at this than I am. And if you think we got the take and I feel like our talent gave it what it needed, like, let's go. Like we don't need to do it 2 other times or extra angles. Like, keep going.
I think it'd be funny if you did a video. I don't know if you've done it already, where you turn around like, "We got it," and you're talking to yourself. We got it.
Yeah, I actually have. I've done some bloopers.
Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah,
we got it, right? The royal we.
Yeah, I just talk to myself a lot. Like, I think this is good.
Yeah,
I hope it's good.
I think it's really neat that we started the story with you talking about when you're 10 years old, listening to something from Dre, and understanding the beats and imagining the visuals that leading you into maybe rapping and creating videos, and now you're not rapping, but you're writing words in your mind and telling a story that way.
Yeah, because I all of my content, I talk locked into a tempo actually. So the song
really?
dictates the speed of which I talk. Like I'm not going out there not knowing the speed I'm talking.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So like I'll listen to the song, right? And if I pull it out on my phone, I'll be like, okay, this is the BPM that we're talking at. I need to make sure I'm talking in this pocket. And even if I need to switch songs, I need to find songs that fit this tempo, which is probably like, I don't know, 92 BPM or something.
That's what I was thinking, 92 BPM.
Yeah, it feels a little faster than 90, slower than 100.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it sits in the pocket. I could get
That is
deep.
insane, bro.
So there's a lot of formulaic science that I've done, whether it's framing, right? Like there's a method that I use also in portrait framing. Horizontal, you have the rule of thirds, but when you're filming vertical, you don't really get the same rule of thirds, framing. So it's a line straight down the middle. And a lot of people think that you need to look straight into the camera and your eyes need to be equidistant from the center line, when really some of the most captivating paintings and photos, the lead eye is in the center of the frame, right down the middle, which draws your eyes to whoever's speaking or posing more than if it were to be completely symmetrical. Those are things that I think about.
I'm rewatching your reels later.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of little bits in that I do, which if we were to talk about that, this would be like a 10-hour conversation. But yeah, there's a lot of dynamics in a song, like when I let things hit, like after every 4 bars, like there will be like a switch, like a fast cuts before a long cut. I let things ride out, with the beat. I let things get fast with the beat. So many of it is music driven.
I know what our next video is going to be. Adrian breaks down his most popular videos, and we just stare at them, and you talk and you draw over it.
That would be so fun.
I think that
I've always wanted to do that, but I would never knew how to do it.
We'll figure it out.
That'd be sick.
We'll totally figure it out. Okay, before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about your personal style. What informed this aesthetic? Can you let us know a little bit? Because there's a lot of folks out there, friends of mine mostly, who say, Chris, I don't know what to do with this. This being what they wear. So they wind up looking like J. Crew. So as a man who's got a lot of personal style there, tell me about what you're putting together, what inspires it, and any kind of takeaways.
And thank you, but you as well. Like, I know when I'm looking at you and how you dress. Like, I think it's important. You know, it's just another way to express ourselves. I don't think it's a make or break thing, but I think it helps for, you know, recognizing how somebody expresses himself, and like, you know, that this is just part of their brand. You know, like, I am such a fan of hip hop. You know, I would watch Pharrell through the years. Really, really big influence on me. Kanye in the college dropout days, huge influence on me. And also just living in the Bay Area. We wear our beanies a certain way.
Yeah.
We do things a little different. We don't wear the same things that folks in New York are, which both are incredible, but it just comes from being a product of my environment and the things that I consumed. And it's just, yeah, it's just another way to show who I am, really. I don't put that much thought into it. I just wear things that I like. And
It's going to frustrate guys like him. Like, you just come out and it just works, right? But keep going, keep going.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, it's changed over the years. Like, I liked showing, you know, which brands I'm wearing, to now I just like showing, I don't want to say not showing brands, but like, I've matured out of being very loud and kind of just buying the things that I like versus what I think other people would like on me.
What is your next guilty indulgence purchase? Because you mentioned getting iced out things, and do you have something in mind? I'm just curious, just personal curiosity.
I'm actually about to go do that right after this, but I'm not that guilty. I'm buying a new little camera, like the little DJI Osmo.
Yeah.
Should I feel guilty about it? Yes and no.
No.
I feel guilty spending $1.
Do you?
Yeah.
This is a reform Adrian here.
This is like, well,
right?
It's because I'm still not far enough removed from having almost no money.
Yeah.
So that everything that I have right now, like, I tell my manager this all the time. Like, when he says, "Oh, we're doing this brand deal for this amount of money," I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, but it also feels like so arbitrary. Like, back in the day, I would while out. I would buy dumb things.
Yeah.
But no, I spend a lot of money on food. But no, I don't think I'm
Okay.
I don't plan on buying anything irresponsible.
Okay.
I bought a motorcycle actually a couple months ago, a few months ago. It just like in full is like, here it is, boom. That's the most recent one that I did.
Okay.
But in the future, no, I'm trying to save up to buy a home.
Nice.
Which is going to take a lot out of me in a couple years, a few
Because
years.
you live in LA.
Maybe a handful of years.
Yeah.
But no, I have to really limit the frivolous spending in order to get there.
Last, before we get out of here, what's it like to be highlighted or featured from Instagram CEO? I mean, that's incredible.
Yo, one morning I woke up and I seen a bunch of folks tag me and they're like, look at this. I got texts. They're like, dude, the CEO of, is it CEO or is it the head of Instagram? The CEO. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, I seen the CEO of Instagram highlight my profile. Wild. That was like, even to this day, I don't think I've fully processed how crazy that is.
Yeah.
I am incredibly honored. I'm flattered. And it's just like, for the person who runs the platform, on the platform that changed my life, for them to notice is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like if Colonel Sanders, the guy who runs KFC,
the founder,
like if he found out that I love KFC, I'd be flattered, or any of these things, right? If it's just an insane feeling, and I still don't think I've processed it enough. I responded. I was like, I'm insanely honored. Like, you're a real person. This is nuts. Yeah, I mean, I also take it the way I take my losses. I think that's why I haven't processed it. I try not to get too hyped on any award or accolade.
Yeah.
Which it's a double-edged sword. But, you know, with that specific moment, it's, as a creator on that platform, to have somebody like that know that I exist is just, I would have never thought. When I first started this journey, I was like, there's no way, you know, and I woke up and it was just like, shocked. Yeah. I still am shocked. But it all goes back to, like, if a video doesn't do well, I kind of feel the same way. I'm just like, I don't really process it. I just keep going.
Yeah. I think that's the healthiest way to do this. It's a long, long journey. Well, I want to thank you for doing this, for keeping it real, for sharing some personal stories and allowing us in on your journey. For people who want to look you up or follow you, where should they go?
Yeah, you can just follow me on any of the platforms at OMG Adrian. OMGADRIAN.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks so much, man.
Of course, man. It was a
That's
pleasure.
awesome, dude.
I could have talked for hours.
Yeah, and we will.